All right. And I'm just going to check and make sure I'm going live here, because there's always glitches going on, which can be annoying. Okay, good. So I guess I'm going to have to log in and that's such a glitch. Freaking Facebook, you're so glitchy. Anyways, good morning, everybody. Facebook is being weird. That's okay. I figured it out. So, anyways, yeah, okay. Sorry. Oh, yeah. So, I was starting to do a live, and I realized I wasn't on, but I was on. This is such weird stuff. So, I had a good weekend. I had a really good weekend. Figured out a lot of stuff. Even understood the psychology behind drug addicts and everything. And I'm understanding just psychology in general, and then what runs people. And I had a question as a kid, what runs people? And I remember asking, why are there serial killers? Why are there people that are like mean? Why are there just different types of people? And, and that was something that I think as a dream of mine. It was like, if I go to college, I'm going to be a forensic psychologist, and I'm going to learn about why serial killers, why people do stuff. Little did I know that I was actually in a situation where I was being studied and potentially programmed to be whatever. And I knew I was being programmed to be whatever, later on, like actually the last couple of years, I figured out they definitely had me programmed to be something. And even just by my namesake, because my mom wanted to call me Jillith, which actually is after Lilith. And so Lilith is, Google Lilith, and she was definitely like a seductress type of stuff. Okay, so you can kind of see where that program was going to go at some point. But I definitely resisted that program, and that was not going to be me. So then you figure out, what is this world like when you bring this all the way back to the beginning of, I don't say beginning, because remember that comes from the whole biblical stuff. I don't want to be linear, but what prompted someone to do research on people to figure out what controls them? And I guess the whole trauma-based mind control, but that's so conspiracy related when you talk about trauma-based mind control. I mean, it really is the right term, but when people hear stuff like trauma-based mind control or MK Ultra, they're like, their eyes glaze over like, oh yeah, that's so conspiracy. They don't do that anymore. Oh, they do that, but in lower levels. Okay, I guess they had to go the extreme many years ago, and there's still extremes, we do. The CIA does that when they're doing enhanced interrogation techniques. Okay, so we know that happens with enemy combatants, but as far as the regular population, what kind of trauma-based mind control or what kind of low level trauma mind control are people under, and then what causes the B cell memories. And that's the thing, is that your blood, your blood has the plasma of B cell memories. And every single time you go through an experience, it records it. Like every single time. And you cut yourself, it records that memory. My dog, when she's building herself up and she's kind of scared to go up the steps, and because there's the space between the steps are pretty huge, and her legs get sometimes tangled into it, and so she will fall through it. But I always catch her before that happens, so I'm spotting her as she's going up. But I know she has those B cell memories. And then when I see her like kind of running in her sleep, her body's remembering stuff. And so that's the thing with mind control, and with body mind control, and with drug control, drugging the body to remember to do this, and this. It's like everything that we do, every single, therapy that we go under, every single surgery, every single drug, and therapy, whatever, has has the ability, the potential to build up certain kind of memories, and also contact memory. When someone hits you, or when you're in a relationship, or when your parents want to program you, or any situation where you're going into and someone does something, you have a memory. When memories are lost, it means that your brain is atrophying. Or when there's so much memories going on because of the amount of the programming that's in your body, the constant memory, which is a good thing on some level because that's where all the smarts comes from. That's where all the scientists and the leaders and the movers and shakers of our society have such a photographic memory on certain things that they can do something and then think of something and then they have this memory of, oh yeah, and they can pull from files that quickly. It's like when you and I have to go and Google stuff and remember and do repetition, some people have that memory that's just like that. And photographic memory is an amazing gift to have, but someone's programmed to have that photographic memory, or they have to really exercise those B-cell memories and study. And so you can get it upon a gift through therapy and through certain programmings of blood types, or you can program yourself to remember certain things. And that's why you see me go through the stuff over and over and over again. It's not just for you. It's also for me, because then I have to go and remember every single thing that I've gone over and then try to put that in a compilation in a book and talk about it in a superficial level in the introduction, and then go into the nitty-gritty details and have it right in the back of my mind without me having to go through all of my notes, which I'm going to have to anyways on some level. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm programming myself. No different than when somebody programs your body to remember to open up, certain hormones and to close certain hormones, because you haven't figured out how to create your own memories because you don't want to feel the pain of dealing with diagnosable conditions. And so then you have the medications to do those memories for you, or you have those injections to do those memories for you. But some memories are memories that are like false memories. What do I mean by false memories? Well, by remembering not to be in pain when you should be in pain, to let you know that your body's breaking down. So when you're taking painkillers or taking things to stop the pain, then you're inducing false memories. But that also is used in the medical industry or in the psychological industry when someone remembers something from their childhood and someone wants to deny it, and they're like, oh, it's false memories. I mean, who's to say it's a false memory? Unless they had a blood transfusion or they were taking on someone's DNA that was really aggressive, that they had a memory that wasn't theirs, but they inherited from a blood transfusion or a heart transplant or something. And so then you think about, you look at Dr. Phil, and he understood that they understand memory. Psychiatrists, let me tell you, I've known some psychiatrists. I actually worked for a lady. I was a nanny, and her dad was a psychiatrist. He wasn't a very nice man. And it's because he was so smug in his work, because he knew how to control people through drugs, through the mind control. And so there are a lot of really trippy doctors out there that know how to control people through their injuries, through their trauma. First, they make them remember, then they use that information as a trigger. They use that information as a way to control the intention and the outcome. And that's what a lot of the psychotherapists, psychologists, the psychiatrists, and they use the drug therapies along with that. That's what they do. And Dr. Phil is no different. He understood the transference and the countertransference. When someone doesn't do something to you, but that person reminded you of somebody in the past that traumatized you, and they're transferring that, and then what he does a countertransference, and it's like that becomes the protector and I don't say pretends, but he uses he uses his capacity as a psychiatrist to fuck with the people's brains by trying to discredit someone who had probably something valid to say. If he would have given me actually the time of day in a more positive sense, without using my information against me, without me knowing everything, because I knew I didn't know everything, but he could have given me a better platform to work from. Yes, it was very controversial, but he understood his audience. He understood the fear around the symptoms. Did he really understand that we weren't harming people? Well, in the industry of the medical industry, they understand that a lot of the cell memories can be very painful, yes, and can also be traumatic. But why were they there to begin with? Well, it's irrelevant. The industry just tries to stop the memories. The medical holistic system tries to stop the memories. Regardless, if a memory is painful, they're going to go and try to find a way to hypnotize it away, to drug therapy it away, to take it out, to surgically take it out, to do whatever. And so their purview is very black and white. I'm bringing up memories that people don't want to remember as far as their body, mind, and spirit. His industry is trying to stop the memories and or give you false memories. And so that was the dichotomy. That was the fight, the war a couple years ago. And then people were mad at me because, yeah, you had to remember shit that you didn't want to remember. Some people had, then had sort of like a relief from the memories. Okay, because it got to that point. They did so much the J-juice that they saw, a remission. They saw certain things calm down. They got some kind of relief, and they didn't have to turn to the medical holistic industry. But they were on that side of it. That's why they praised me. And then people who hated me, they were at the beginning of them remembering stuff that they didn't want to remember, or saw an increase in memories that they didn't want to remember. And so that's the thing about the plasma, about, what is a pathogen? Because a pathogen can be something to be programmed in. It's how you program and apply the meaning to that pathogen. Because what is pathogenic to one person is like, that's not pathogenic, that's just stuff. Okay? So somebody could say that pollen is a pathogen to them, but myself, I'd be like, no, pollen is not a pathogen to me. It may be a pathogen to you, but it ain't to me. So pathogens are how the body is programmed to react to the environment and how they react or apply the meaning to any action and reaction. And then you have to understand that when someone hits you, that's not a good thing, though people have been programmed to think that hitting is okay. That's the thing. That's why our society is so messed up, because we have so many different meanings we apply to actions, though the main programming is no one should be hitting you. That's called domestic violence or violence. But then there's this side of it where people are playing around, like, guys are playing sport and they're smack each other on the ass. They kind of toughen each other up in their groups of pods that they move around in when they go to the bars or wherever. And so they play that where, it can be kind of like fun, and it's like, yeah, let's have fun and play around like that. But there's that fine line where someone is going to take that, and if they have a trigger in their body with it because they were hit as a kid or something, and someone didn't know that history and they hit him just for, for fun, and then the guy just turned around and just punches the dude out. That's when you realize that that's the memory from somebody gone through some shit, when they're highly triggered because the memories are at the surface. And so then you see what's going on with this whole COVID-19, bringing up so many B cell memories, and and it's at the surface. So people are highly triggered, whether it's physiologically highly triggered, so they're getting cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders, or someone says wear a mask or don't wear a mask, or someone has a Biden or a Trump sticker, and people are freaking the hell out because they have had such the programming, whether it's TV or their groups or their associations. And so you see why there's so much censorship on Facebook, because the amount of B cell memories that are radicalizing people to such an extent where they actually go off the deep end, become extremists. Okay? And so then I'm like, holy shit. So then I know that there are societies based upon the B cell memories, and the mind control is the B cell memories. And all the memories, whether it's like the way you're brought up, the way you were taught, the way that you dealt with conflict, so many memories are attached to that. And so what do the psychologists and psychiatrists and all the doctors and all the people in the sciences field do? They study the memories of people. How do you get relatively, chaotic population into some kind of order? Okay? And that's understanding all the memories that people go through. Then having, figure out child rearing. Because we have a lot of people who rear children who inflict horrific memories onto their kids. Don't even know it. And so there's a lot of transference and countertransference from the past with parents onto their kids. And so the kids are getting the behaviors of the parents who had to deal with their own childhood. And that's where all the childhood trauma and all the crap that people deal with in their childhood get passed down from generation to generation because of how the kids have, the parents never resolved their childhood issues. And so that does get transferred. And so that's mainly the medical holistic system, is blocking the memories or creating false memories or new memories to kind of to overshadow the old memories, or just block them altogether. And so the Jilly Juice makes you remember shit. That's why I get so much backlash, and that's really what it comes down to. I'm not harming anybody. Okay? The thing is the reason why people die is because they can't face up to their fucking memories. The reason why people die is they have so many memories that they haven't faced up to. The memories are eating them alive, and they're not eating a full diverse diet, and they have different memory programming that is blocking their nutrition, blocking their way of thinking to take on new information like evolution, adaptation. And so it's now realigning the memories. Okay, so viruses, when you think about it, viruses are memory banks. That's really what it comes down to. Viruses are memory banks, and they can be programmed, in every single part of your body has a specific memory. It's a memory bank into itself. Every little action that you do, whether you're looking to the left, looking to the right, looking down, up and down, whatever, your capillaries opening, your capillaries closing, your lungs, going, contracting and whatever, expanding and contracting and all that. All of that is memory driven. It's driven by the viral memory banks. Holy crap, that's a new term. And so then when you understand viral memory banks, and you understand how people's brains work, you understand how their body works, and you understand all the different actions and reactions, you can isolate proteins, and you can do trauma to the proteins to create a specific reaction. Then that's how you can create the drugs. And then take over, commandeer the memory banks of the different hormones and all that. And so then that's why you can create different types of people with different sexual orientations. Okay? And that's why there's so many different types of sexual orientations. Because I tell you, I've seen a lot of them on Facebook, where people are objectophilia and all that stuff. And you're like, what? And that's now with the robots, how do we control population where you get them all sexually attracted to robots? Okay, I mean, that'll help with population control, and then they're not harming anyone, and they're hanging out with the robot, and they have a relationship with the robot, fine, or with the tree or whatever. But we don't want people having a relationship with trees, because trees are out in the public, and there's people out in the public, so we don't need to see that. But that's the thing, is that we can program anyone to do anything to be, and it's all about memory control. And the viruses are the memory banks. They are the viral memory banks that remember. And those have the proteins. Those have the DNA proteins, the B cell, the T cell. But really, it's the B cell memories. T cells are like, okay, we'll keep to the limitations of the programming. And they're supposed to have some kind of a peptidase. Some stay around, for however long. But there's other T cells that do a self-destruct, because they're not supposed to hang around too much, because then they will destroy the host. And so, yeah, understanding the body, mind, and spirit memories of people, that's how you create one simulation and then go into another, or develop, or go from one simulation into another. And then triggering the memories of people, whether it's the 1860s, the civil rights, 1960s, 1860s, 1960s, and you have, the Christopher Columbus, the Thanksgiving, and all these different memories and the trauma that we've had inflicted from the movies, from history. I had to read a bunch of books about the Holocaust when I was a kid. That really created a lot of the PTSD, because holy shit, there's still things that I remember from the books that I read, from the atrocities, and I learned that from the perspective of someone that had someone, in Auschwitz, those concentration camps. And so, so I'm taking on, my, the memories of the people that raised me to remember not to do it again. But okay. You keep traumatized population, they're going to do it again, right? I mean, you got to figure out a way where we can develop new memories without having to go back to the old memories. Remember why not to do it again. Because people are so injured, they're dying and reproducing. If people weren't dying and reproducing on a constant basis, they wouldn't have that streamline of memories being passed down from generation to generation. And so if we had people that stayed alive long, like indefinitely, and we still remember what happened in World War II, but it wasn't such a painful PTSD traumatic memory, maybe we wouldn't inflict that upon the future generations. But the reason why we're remembering so much, the reason why we're doing so much atrocities to each other, because we're remembering all the stuff and we're reenacting the past. They say, oh, those that don't remember the past will repeat it. Well, remembering and being run by the past are two different things. Some people are run by the past. Some people are run by the past because guess what? Their body is declining and all they have is the memories. They're not developing new memories. They're not developing anything new in their world. They're regurgitating what they did in the past, remembering all the friends and families and historical stuff and reacting to things that remind them, the triggers. When you see what goes on TV and in the movies, when they keep bringing up the same fucking shit over and over and over again, then you're wondering, are they really trying to say, no, we're not going to repeat the past, or are they actually repeating the past? Okay? Because I remember shit in the past, but it doesn't run me. I remember not to get in situations that could potentially cause what happened in the past, but it doesn't run me. It's just another memory of what not to do. So imagine, 500 million people who remember aspects of the past, maybe what was written or maybe what they experienced themselves, but they're not run by it, and they're developing new and different innovation. They're peaceful, they're productive. They're, they know how to deal with evolution. They're eating food. They have a higher sodium diet. They're developing, so many awesome things for the present and the future. Their kids are peaceful. They are peaceful. Everyone's balanced. Holy shit. That's a whole new society that we don't even know. We had never seen before. Because we've come from so many civilizations that died and reproduced, are traumatized by past memories, run by them, and then told, well, you should remember everything that happened to us as a history of a people as well as a history of a person. And the people are tortured by the fucking memories. And then someone like Dr. Phil goes on and does the whole counter-transference because they know that when they had those two guests that were like, so scared of feeling the memories of their body, their physiological memories that they held within their predispositions. And they said that I hurt them, the jelly juice hurt them, the salt was poison, blah, 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 and did a whole thing around that and brought in some YouTube influencer that just couldn't wait to get on the bandwagon of the human sacrifice. I mean, he used that whole platform as a total psychological operation. He used the countertransfers of, oh yeah, I'm here to protect you. I'm your savior. That's what fucking psychiatrists do. That's what psychologists do. They become the savior. I mean, if they understood the salt, water, and food, and then you have to purge out, maybe you're there to help, catch some of the memories and say, okay, it's memory, but you're purging them out. And here, no, but what happens in such severe cases? Yeah, they put them on drug therapy. Some people, I've been to psychologists before, and some of them, like when I wanted to be thankful for, figure out how to thank the nurses that saved me in Vietnam. So my psychologist at that time, when I was going through a rough period, I paid $50 a week to see her until I got over whatever issue I was going through. And she got me in contact with an author that was a nurse during the Operation Baby Lift. And so I wrote that nurse a letter, said, thank you for saving me. I really appreciate it. This is my 30s, my early 30s. And the author wrote back to me. Her name was Leanne Tiemann. This Must Be My Brother. That was the name of the book. And she's out of like somewhere in the Midwest, like Minnesota. And it was from the website community.com. And I wrote to her. I said, hey, this is back when I was in Walnut Creek, California, and I was working for Kaiser at that time. And I was going through a rough period, and I was just like, okay. And that was like, okay, that was, so I had to remember, or I had to find a way to remember. Did that help me remember? I guess, if I felt like I needed to thank somebody for bringing me, for saving me during the Vietnam War. But I mean, but that's the thing, is that those are the things that kind of get you over the hump. Okay, I understand that. But then there's people that, like, I guess it's the Freudian, the Jungian. That's the Jungian, where you can kind of get the short term to get you over the hump, so you can keep doing your job and staying in the game. And I guess, because can you really take somebody, down a road, and they have to still work and maintain? And so that's the quick band-aids, I guess. That's, I guess, where the whole psychology, the Jungian psychology. Then there's a Freudian, where it's just like on your back on a freaking couch, just talking and talking and talking, and where they psychoanalyze you. And that's, then you have the psychiatry and all the drug therapies that go along with that to make somebody then become a contributing member of society. And so what if we didn't have to rely on the psychiatry, the psychology, that people were able to deal with the memories, that they would remember stuff, and maybe had a place to catch them, where they wouldn't do damage to themselves, but then they became a whole person? That why do we rely on why are we bringing in kids in this world that are so fucked up, that have so many horrible memories? Okay, where we have to have an institution. But what can you do? We have 7.9 billion people on this earth. 7.9 billion. And that really doesn't seem like a lot when you think about it. I mean, it is and it isn't. But, I'm looking for a future where we don't have as many traumatic memories that we have to go and heal from and remember and cry from all of this. It's crazy. And so watching my dog deal with the memories that she's dealing with, and the last couple of years from all this COVID, bringing up all of her predispositions, which are basically viral memory banks. It's been a struggle. Okay. And I had to keep feeding that energy. And now I'm going to give her new memories and let her know that I'm going to be there. She actually, this last night was so amazing. She actually cuddled with me last night, which she never did. Before, a couple of years ago, before all this COVID stuff changed her, she would put her belly on top of my chest, and this is her way of saying goodnight, where she just lay across me. And then she'd go off into her side of the bed. And that was cute, right? And then she would dig and get her bed, be all like that. This last night, I saw glimpses of her old personality, where she kind of dig a little bit to play with, to get her bed to be a certain way. But she also took her chin and put her right on my chest, and she just looked at me with her puppy eyes, as if to say, thank you for saving me throughout this whole last couple years. That's what I read into it, because she's never done that before. She's laid her body across my body and all that stuff, in the beginning, like a couple of years ago, and then this COVID came and really just fucked with her, and I kept feeding her, and I just kept dealing with it. And so now, last night I gave her a bunch of my T-bone steak, and she ate that. She still eats her food too, okay? So don't worry about that. She's eating her food. But she's getting some back of her old personality, but she has a newer body. But the fact that she just put her face on my chest and just looking at me, and I'm just like cutting going like, oh my God, I was cherishing that moment, and we were just staring each other into each other's eyes, and it was an amazing moment. Okay? And so at some point, when you get through all those B-cell memories, you guys, and there's going to be a lot of them, you will have a moment of like, holy shit. You're going to have a moment of just finally just having some peace, having some tranquility, having some kind of control. That's the thing that you guys got to see. You guys got to see it through, is getting to that point where it's like you and your dog are just staring at each other into each other's eyes as if nothing else existed, knowing the struggle you and that dog went through. And me and Sugar went through a lot of struggles. Okay? And that is priceless. That's the reward of the JJ meta mentality. And it's going to be individual. And you will have those moments where you're just like, whoa. And everything just falls into place. Okay? And so just just understand that we've had so many horrible memories inflicted upon us for many fucking years. And we're inheriting our parents' memories of things that were done to them, and our grandparents, and our great-grandparents, and it's down the line to all the way to wherever that beginning is. And there was trauma upon trauma upon trauma upon atrocity upon trauma. And it's not going to end for a while. We have 7.9 billion people who have to remember all this shit that don't want to remember and are trying their way to just not remember. And then they can't not remember and they glitch. And that's where you have to be very careful being out there in the public, because people are remembering shit or getting triggered just like that, because this COVID is bringing up so many memories in people. Okay? And so I'm going to end with that. But I had another revelation about memories, and B-cell memories, and the trauma, the viral memory banks. That's what viruses are. They're memory banks. They are the spirit. They are the programming. They are the memory banks. And they run this world. And people in the professions, psychiatry, psychology, the medical, holistic, they call it different names. They call it drug therapy. They call it operations. They call it whatever, but it's really, they understand how to run it. They understand how to manipulate people's memories in their body, in their mind, in their spirit. And this is where the politics, religion, and science comes from. And then all the words that support all the different memories and people's trauma around it. And then how people characterize good and evil, how they get some kind of peace through their scripture, through whatever things that have given them some semblance of control, some infrastructure. Because I'm telling you, I get it. Politics is someone's infrastructure, their religion is their infrastructure, and their science is their infrastructure. Now, how do we get people to be at peace without turning to the dichotomy, the war within politics, religion, and science? Well, that's something that I have to figure out. But it's all that B-cell memory. It's all that programming. All right. Bye.